First of all, you're highlighting your proposals for what you call Fair Work today. What are the headlines?
We have an opportunity in this election to set a new agenda, which is about ending austerity and investing in the creation of good, high-value employment within our country. We can start doing that by ensuring that our public expenditure rises in the way that the SNP has argued. And we can also take measures to improve the employment arrangements within Scotland with a move towards a minimum wage of £8.70 by 2020 and action to tackle the exploitative zero hours contracts that we experience nowadays. So these are all part of a package of delivering better opportunities and better value employment for people in Scotland.
Specifically on the minimum wage, what makes you think businesses can afford to put the wage up to £8.70 an hour, which is even more than Labour are proposing?
What we've seen in the implementation of the minimum wage, at the very outset there was warnings that this would cause economic difficulty, and that's not materialised. And what we see within the economy where businesses are investing in their workforce, the workforce becomes more productive, that contributes to the strength, the financial strength of the company and to the value the company is able to generate, and as a consequence there is then a beneficial effect on the economy. Taking all of that together, an increase in the minimum wage is good for employment practice and it's good for productivity within the economy, and businesses are in a position to be able to support that where they benefit from those increases in productivity and performance.
The Scottish Tory manifesto launched today. The Prime Minister is warning against what he calls a coalition of chaos if the SNP and Labour govern together. Your response to the Tories?
The Scottish National Party has governed in Scotland for 8 years, and we secured re-election in 2011, and the common assessment of why we did that was because we were a competent government and we were able to deliver on the priorities and the expectations of the people. So people should expect from the SNP competent activities taken forward in a responsible fashion. That's what we've done in the Scottish Government, and that's precisely what we would do in Westminster.
And in terms of the Tories' proposals in this election being unveiled in their manifesto today?
The Conservative manifesto is irrelevant to the people of Scotland. They want to cut Scottish MPs out of decision making in Westminster when issues decided in Westminster are still affecting the people of Scotland, and they are pursuing an austerity agenda which is hugely damaging to the people of our country, and Scots are facing real hardship as a consequence of austerity. We need a strong group of SNP MPs elected on the 7th of May to bring that austerity to an end.
OK, there's another debate tonight. How will Nicola Sturgeon approach this UK-wide debate with other opposition leaders?
Nicola Sturgeon has a further welcome opportunity to share the message of the Scottish National Party with a wider UK audience. And now that it's very clear from all the polling evidence that no one party is going to be able to form a majority government, it's important that we set out how the SNP will use a position of influence, if we secure that from the votes of people in Scotland in this election, to end austerity, to ensure that we tackle some of the significant issues of economic weakness that affect our country, and to take action to end the Trident nuclear missile programme. So all of these things are important as part of the opportunity of this debate to set out the arguments of the SNP.
And if Ed Miliband takes her on full fiscal, second last one, full fiscal autonomy, will she have an answer to how the SNP would plug the gap that would open up in Scottish finances?
Well, full fiscal autonomy is going to take place over a period of time. It's not going to happen now, as the accusation of the Labour Party would suggest. It would have to be negotiated. There'd have to be a fiscal framework in place to make that happen. And as we've seen from the devolution of tax varying powers through the Calman Commission, the Calman tax powers proposals were envisaged 7 years ago, and we're now only going to start implementing them in 2016. So these things take time to be negotiated and arranged, and in that responsible way the SNP will take forward these proposals.
What is the earliest point that the Barnett formula would be switched off?
The Barnett formula already is being changed as a consequence of the devolution of tax powers. It's happened already because of the devolution of land and buildings transaction tax and landfill tax. It will happen further as a consequence of the Scottish rate of income tax. And what we've got to take forward is the responsible arrangements for the delivery of greater financial control in a fashion that supports an orderly transition from the position that we're in just now to a position where we exercise greater financial responsibility. And if you look at the tax powers, on the tax powers there's a 3-year transition period that's part of the process to ensure that we can deliver stability in the public finances.
That would be the minimum period of time to move towards ending the Barnett formula.
All I'm saying to you is that in the implementation of the tax powers, there's a 3-year transition period from the moment of implementation of the tax powers to when the Barnett formula would be finally adjusted to take that into account. So that's, and of course there's many years have taken place before these powers have been implemented in the first place. So the key point that people should take from the discussions around fiscal autonomy is that this has to be a negotiated settlement taken forward in an orderly fashion by SNP MPs elected to Westminster.